You're watching the 2024 SCAC Baseball Media Days. Today, we're taking a look at the Trinity University Tigers baseball program. Trinity once again be led as they head into the season of the guys head coach Tim Scannell, along with leadership from senior Ty Preston. Coach Ty, thanks so much for joining us today.
You're welcome.
Coach, we'll get underway with you heading into your 26th season there as the manager of the Trinity baseball program. I'm interested, oftentimes we talk to student athletes about kind of that reset process going into a new year, but for you as a head coach, what does that look like for you as you go through the season, go through the emotions, the ups and downs with those players and expend that energy? For you, what does that regroup process look like? And ultimately, how excited are you to be back at the start of a new season?
Yeah, well, first, we're super excited. We just love how we finished up last year. Really proud of this group. You hit on a couple of key things, the ups and downs of seasons, and we felt like we had a really bumpy season going last year. But ultimately, the core group that's back this year is the same core group that really played well down the stretch last year, which is the key to baseball. You want to be playing your best baseball at the right time. So, and then on the concept of reset, you're on the money there as well. Like every year is a reset. So for me, it's always kind of keep it simple. It's like each week are we developing? Each week are we getting better? What's our competition level? What's our desire to win? All those cliches. It's a game filled with cliches, but they matter. And so we do the same thing as everyone else. We try and build on keeping it simple, go week by week. Are we getting better? And, always have a high compete mindset.
Ty, heading into your senior season, Coach talks about the excitement of the way the year ended and the way this team was playing. When you close a season in the manner this team does that motivate this group coming back, especially for you being a senior? What's your mindset? And for you, just how excited you be back and get ready to start your senior year?
I think all of us are itching to get back out there, especially with the way last season ended, just leaving a sour taste in our mouth, especially with the way that we were playing. But how we played towards the end of the season just showed us what we're really capable of as a group, and we're really looking forward to getting back out there and proving that.
Coach, you talk about the experience of some of these core guys returning who are playing some of the best baseball, and a big part of the way that season ended. You look at some of these guys will be back in this lineup. The guy sitting next to you, Ty Preston, Christian Holloway, Jack Peterson, all guys that had 35 or more hits for your team. That's going to be back again this season. As this lineup is starting to take shape, what are you expecting from this group? What are you expecting from some of these core leaders that will have that experience in coming back? And ultimately, what's kind of the approach you like your team to have when they step in the box?
Well, I think, as much as we have a really good core returning, we also lost a lot. And so, we lost Tyler Pettit, who there's no way I can express in an interview what he meant to our ball club. He ran the show behind the dish. He was a high level competitor. He was super accountable kid, and he really did more than anyone could ever imagine. But then we lost, a great player in Mike Montreza, who was a two-time, regional shortstop, took us to the World Series his junior year. That's a big hole to fill. We lost an unbelievable guy in Cade McGahan, who was an absolute beast for us last year, and was thrilled for that kid because, he came on like gangbusters after kind of a bumpy junior and sophomore year. And then we really got hit hard with Jack Martinez leaving for NIL money and Division I scholarship money at Louisiana Lafayette. And so that's a huge loss within our program. And then Harrison Duro with a boyhood dream opportunity being able to sign with the Brewers. So there's a lot of missing pieces, but what we are excited about, like I said, was who we have coming back. And it's really the makeup of who they are, whether it's Ty or Peterson or Holloway or Baker or Harris, and it kind of goes on and on. We just have some kids that are hard-nosed players. They're hungry, and that's always a fun group to go coach and compete with. So we have an expectation level we want to develop. We want to kind of look at it, like I said, week by week, and we're hoping to be a good team at the end of the season. We're hoping to be a team that gels the way it happened last year. We'll see. Time will tell.
Ty, you come into your senior season, I would imagine, blossoming with confidence. Your junior campaign really exploding onto the scene, career highs across the board. Just in terms of runs, hits, stolen bases, average, RBIs, really the works for you. You really stepped into a big role last year as a junior. What does a season like that do for you in terms of your confidence, and what have you continued to work on individually as a player heading into your senior year?
I think there are always things to work on, no matter what kind of season, day, week, month you have. And it really just comes down to staying true to yourself and the process that you have, and what got you here. And so staying true to that process, continuing to build on that, and then getting the results that come out of that is really what builds your confidence as a player.
Coach, as we look at this pitching staff, to me, certainly it starts with guys like Jackson Tier, returning pitcher of the year, Joey Shavana, he's just been eating innings for you going back to his freshman season. It's been really impressive. How is this group starting to come together? What have you seen early on in camp that gives you confidence? And for guys like Jackson and Joseph coming back, how do you expect to see their games even expand a little bit more heading into the season?
Well, I mean, they look good in practice and scrimmages, but it's, one of the toughest things to do in all sports, but I think in particular in baseball, is to put together back-to-back great years. And so for Jackson Tier, he came in a little bit as an unknown last year, both to us and the rest of the league, but now he's very well known. So that means, pitch shape is well known, what his tendencies are well known. And so it's going to be a much more uphill battle for him to have a great year. But he's the type of kid that is excited about that, right? Like every athlete to get better and better, you want to ultimately be the guy that everyone knows coming into the game, whether you're a hitter or a pitcher. Like that's the dude that we need to try and shut down. And Tier, I think, is ready to try and answer all challengers. It'll be tough, but I think he's excited about it. Joe Chavana, same thing, just another great arm. Really worked hard physically, had a really good summer in the Northwoods League this summer. And so I think his confidence is all-time high. But ultimately, any preseason talk about anything becomes the notion or saying of talk is cheap. Like we're just going to have to execute our pitches on the mound. We're going to have to make the simple play that defensively, and we're going to have to barrel baseballs offensively. So I think we're headed in that direction. I like what we're doing. I love the group and the leadership of the group and the compete level of the group. But yeah, we'll see how this thing starts off in a couple weeks.
Ty, as we wrap things up with you, as you've had conversations with some of the other leaders on this group about some of the goals and expectations that you see coming into this season, especially coming off such a strong end to last year, what have those conversations looked like, and ultimately what's going to be key for this group to achieve those heading into 2024?
I think those conversations have been happening ever since the season ended last year, is that we know what we're capable of as a team, as a locker room, and as a program. And we're really just coming out here hungry to try to prove to not only ourselves, but everybody else that we're a great program and we deserve to be in another regional and make another run at it. And
finally, Coach, success in our arena obviously can be measured in many different ways and fashions and forms. When you try and quantify success or talk about success with your group, what is that message that you try to get across? And ultimately, 2024 looks successful if what plays out for this team?
I think it's probably the same thing every year, right? Like it's the development of players, development of the individual, and then ultimately the development of the team. And that's a process that happens all throughout the season. But I do think there's only one way to measure a successful season, and that's if you are fortunate enough to have fought and grinded, and whether you win your conference tournament or put together a really good regular season, any way into the NCAA tournament, to me, equals a success. There are occasions where, you fall short and it's still successful, but I don't think that's the case with this team. I think that this team needs to be locked in on development and, accountability of how they perform. And I think that team should have a chance at a regional, which would equal success.
University head baseball coach Tim Scannell, along with the leadership from senior Ty Preston, the Tigers will open up the 2024 campaign when they take on Babson on February 23rd. Coach Ty, thanks so much for your time today and best of luck as you head into the year.
Thank you.
Thanks, Russell.